Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show that takes you from diaper disasters to the legendary teenage eye roll. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, here to guide you through every stage of parenting, from toddlers testing your patience to adult children testing your Wi-Fi limits. Parenting is a wild ride, and no matter your child's age, you'll always find a moment where you think, are you fucking kidding me? Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? The podcast where we say the things every parent thinks, but would never say at daycare pickup. If you've ever stared at your child while they are sleeping and thought, wow, they're so perfect, only to have them wake up 5 minutes later and start screaming because their socks feel weird, this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about tiny dictators. You know, the small humans who wake up like they own the place, demanding snacks, refusing to wear pants, and generally acting like they've been elected the supreme leader of your house. Go grab your coffee, grab your wine, or let's just be real, go grab the bottle of vodka and settle in. We're going to laugh, cry, and maybe scream into our pillow together. Because parenting isn't just hard, it's fucking chaos. It's waking up to a child who says, I need pancakes right now, and then crying because they actually wanted cereal. It's a survival game, and I'm here to help you laugh through it. Let's start with the biggest scam in parenting, sleeping angels. I swear this is a universal experience. Every parent I've talked to goes through this. You know, that moment when they're finally asleep and in the house, everything is quiet. And you stand there, staring at them, thinking, look at that little face. They're so peaceful. Oh, so innocent. I don't deserve this perfection. It's like your heart could just burst right out of your chest. And then they wake up. Bam! That angel's gone. Instantly, they're yelling demands. Mom, where's my blue cup? Or, I need pancakes. No, not the round kind. And they flip a switch from adorable cherub to unhinged tyrant. Faster than I can pour my damn coffee. Let me paint you a picture. One morning, I woke up before my daughter. I made my coffee, read a couple pages of a book. I was living my best life. And then I heard it. The yelling and the stomping. And she storms out of her room like a little dictator and says, where are my sunglasses? Mind you, she's wearing the sunglasses she's yelling about on her head. And I'm just sitting there wondering if I've accidentally enrolled into a reality TV show that I don't even know about called Survive the Toddler. One night, I sat there watching my sleeping daughter. I felt so overwhelmed with love, and I giggle because, again, so many parents I talk to have been there. And as I'm overwhelmed with the love I have for her, I remember earlier in the day when she screamed at me because her sandwich was cut into triangles and I left the crust on instead of cutting it into squares. Like, seriously, who the fuck is this child? Parenting is such a scam. These kids trick you with their sweet, sleepy faces, and then they wake up and lose it because their toast is too crunchy. Too crunchy. Who raised these people? Seriously. Shit, I did. Now let's move on to blowouts, because if sleeping angels are the scam, blowouts are your first real test. It's the parenting equivalent of a pop quiz. And spoiler alert, we are all failing. Here's the thing about blowouts. They're not just messy. They're fucking humbling. Like, so humbling. You go into parenting thinking you're going to nail this. You've read the books. You've packed the diaper bag with such precision. Nothing could go wrong. And then your baby or toddler or almost toddler decides to poop so damn aggressively it defies the law of physics. I'm talking about the kind of blowout that makes you question science. Like, how did it get up their back and on to the top of their damn head? How? Let me tell you about the time I was out at an outdoor sporting goods store. My son, I don't even know how old he was. He was old enough not to be a baby, but he wasn't old enough to walk at. So, here we are, in the sporting goods store. I'm carrying him around like a good mother so he doesn't get into all the things. And then I hear it. The loud, adult-size toot. It comes raging out of him, and I think for a brief minute, God, I hope that was just gas. So I do what every parent does. Hang on to my kid by one arm, pull his pants down, look into his diaper, and lo and behold, it was not just gas. So, mind you, here I am in a sporting goods store. I walk my child, trying not to hold them too close because, mind you, they now have poop all the way up their back. I walk them into the bathroom, which, mind you, has no changing table. That's a whole nother rant. Who the hell has public bathrooms without changing tables? Like, seriously, people? So, I go to my diaper bag, I pull out the changing mat, and change my baby on the disgusting floor. Meanwhile, I'm giving my baby a very sweet bath with baby wipes. And I am getting all the judgmental stares from all the strangers. So I roll down my child's onesie, you know, the kind you see on Instagram reels where you roll it down instead of pulling it over their head, which I don't even know why I cared because at this point poops all the way up to the top of his head. Roll it down, trying to make less of a mess. Roll it up, put it in the wet bag. I'm supposed to put other items like his diaper and other things so I don't make other people have to smell his disgusting poop. And I do all of that, wipe him down. So mind you, we are now laying naked on a changing mat on a disgusting public restroom floor. And my child's not just a sweet baby. He's trying to stand up, sit up, whatever he can do, making changing him even more difficult, trying to get him not to touch the gross floor. Get it all done. I get a new diaper on him, and I dig through the diaper bag to get the change of clothes. And guess what? I fucking forgot the change of clothes. You know that precision that I mentioned that we pack our diaper bags in with? Yeah, didn't do that, obviously. Thought I did, but I didn't. So here's the thing. I'm sitting here being judged by all the public people about how I'm taking care of my kid, and now I've got no clothes for my kid. For those of you that don't know, I live in Montana. Montana is cold 9 months out of the year. It happened to be one of those 9 months that it's so cold that I can't take my child outside with just a diaper on. So I proceed to walk around the sporting goods store to the child section, which, if it's cold enough to not be able to go outside. It's probably cold enough that the only thing in the child section are snow pants and heavy jackets. So I'm looking around. I don't need snow pants. I don't need heavy jackets. I just need something to put on my kid so we can leave the store. And I find the one onesie that's there. Yes, just the one. And I spend more on a onesie than I've ever spent in my life. I spent $55 on the blowout onesie that is pink because that's the only color they have. Mind you, it's a good thing that I've raised my kids not believing in boy and girl things, so I don't really care that it's pink, but it's pink. There's definitely a hierarchy of public blowout disasters. Blowout on the stroller? Manageable. Hose that thing down, you're good to go. Blowout in the car seat, your life is over. Seriously. Do you know what it takes to wash an entire car seat so that thing is still safe? Just hope to God the poop does not get on the car seat straps. That is a game changer. I am no stranger to the public blowout. One time I had to change my kid in a dive bar on a road trip because there literally was no traffic stops anywhere. And again, it's winter, it's cold, and I need to change my child who just blew out 15 minutes from us leaving for the start of our trip. Talk about the judgmental stares you get when you bring an infant into a skeezy dive bar because it's the only place that has paper towels that you can change them. Anyway, blowouts are your initiation into parenting madness, and they prepare you for the next stages of chaos. The toddler tantrums. Blowouts are a mess that you can clean up, but tantrums, those are the emotional blowouts of childhood, and they're so much worse than the tantrum. The tantrum is like a blowout for your soul. They're messy, they're unpredictable, and they leave you feeling like a shell of your former self. How about the time that I was on a road trip and I had packed everything, snacks, toys, favorite DVDs, or so I thought. Turns out I packed the wrong favorite DVD, and my child was not having it. He wailed, he screamed for an hour and a half. I'm driving through nowhere because, again, I live in Montana, and my options are listen to the tantrums or drive into the sunset like I'm in some sort of crime drama. Needless to say, he eventually cried himself to sleep. But dear Lord, those moments are not for the faint of heart. Have you ever had your child blowing up during a tantrum and you have this internal dialogue going on? Your child is freaking out. One time my daughter freaked out about a Peyton Manning doll we couldn't find. Yes, I said Peyton Manning doll. Yes, my daughter had a plush toy of Peyton Manning because her brother had a plush toy of Peyton Manning. Is my daughter now a Broncos fan? No, she's a Seahawks fan. Did she still have to sleep with Peyton Manning in her toddler bed every night? Absolutely. The absurdity of losing this Peyton Manning doll was laughable. And I remember one night we couldn't find Peyton Manning. Her brother had his doll. She wanted hers. We couldn't find it. And the meltdown, the tears, the absolute devastation as my daughter said, "Peyton Manning, I need my Peyton Manning." The absurdity of the meltdown over something so small. The dialogue in my head was, Peyton Manning? Yeah, I need Peyton Manning too. Wouldn't we all love to have a Peyton Manning? Mind you, I didn't say this to her. Instead, we went on a manhunt through our house to find her Peyton Manning doll. Eventually, we found it. You know, every parent has that moment of thinking, can I actually survive this? And usually the answer is yes. There's so many other ridiculous tantrum triggers, like refusing to eat dinner because the peas touched the chicken, or refusing to eat because, well, your child spilled water on their plate on their own accord, not because of anything you did. I don't know about you, but my kids have thrown tantrums over some really weird shit. I just want to know from you, what's the weirdest thing your kid ever had a meltdown over? I'm sure there are some classic stories out there. The other piece we have is the control issues. Now, later I'll talk about what it really was, but at the time, I thought it was a control issue. The sock saga. My daughter was a sock tyrant. She kept complaining that her socks felt weird every single pair. It didn't matter if they were seamless, it didn't matter if they were tall, it didn't matter if they were ankle. Every single time she took them off, they disappear. Seriously, my husband and I thought we had a sock-eating dryer. I mean, we all have a sock-eating dryer, but we really thought we had a sock-eating dryer. Eventually, I get a call from her school about 3 months in, and the teacher says, "Your daughter's cubby's full. Can you come and empty it out?" So I show up and go in, and it's a sock graveyard. 3 months worth of balled up socks crammed in there like some kind of cotton shrine. Seriously. Socks. All the socks. All the socks of all the socks of all the socks replaced. Because every time I'd get my daughter dressed for school, I put socks on her feet, she'd put her shoes on, she'd walk in the school, she'd take her shoes off, take her socks off, and put her indoor shoes on, and never put the socks back on. We would constantly buy so many socks, wondering where they kept disappearing. I thought to myself then, if she is this picky at 4, what happens when she's 17 and her jeans just feel weird? Fast forward, she's 12 and she doesn't wear jeans. Now, the dictatorship at snack time. One more way our children start the tyranny that is the hierarchy of our households. It really is the ultimate battlefield. Snacks are the way our children prove that they are in charge. How many times have you given your child goldfish, but then they really want fruit snacks? How many times have you given your kids the wrong snacks in the wrong bowl, and then you get the meltdown? Or you're out at Target and you give them popcorn and not pretzels. Seriously, snacks aren't just food, they're a power move. It's not about hunger, it's about control. Actually, it's not about control. Our toddlers don't really know about control. It's all about hunger, and it's all about not being able to make choices when we're actually hungry. Heck, I'm in my 40s, and I can't even make decisions when I'm hungry. My husband could say, "Do you want tacos for dinner?" I fucking love tacos. But if I'm hungry, there's no way I can say, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea." I just instead say, "I don't know what I want for dinner. I just want food." I wonder where my daughter gets it. Not really. But here's the thing. Our kids are going to cry over broken pretzels or demand snacks that they just rejected. Seriously, it happens. But they're not doing it because they want to make our life difficult. They're not doing it because they think that we're terrible parents. They're doing it because they don't have the capacity to actually control anything else. Our children at 2, 3, 4 years old are really trying to figure out how to navigate this big world that we have in front of us. And they have to do it with choices. They have to do it with choices that are important. So, for example, now knowing what I know and learning what I have learned from my children, from my grandchildren, and from friends' children, is that when it came to my daughter and her socks, sending her to school with socks on was not the most important thing. Sending her to school with socks on still is not the most important thing. But giving her the tools to keep her feet warm and stay warm throughout the day, that is the most important thing. I'm a huge advocate for natural consequences. However, I'm not going to let my kid go to school with Crocs on and 2 feet of snow because they don't like their boots. I will, however, make them put their boots on the way to school, and then put their Crocs in the backpack so they can put them on when they get inside, because I know that they're just going to take their boots off and probably get in trouble at school because the boots don't feel good. That's okay. Sometimes some of these things that go on in our kids' head, like with my daughter, the socks, it's a sensory issue. Ends up, shortly after this sock meltdown at 3, 4, we found out she had sensory processing disorder, and we had to go to occupational therapy to help her process what it meant to have socks on and to do things that protected her. Do we still have meltdowns and blowups? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean she's doing it to make my life difficult or to make her feel like she's in more control. She just wants to be comfortable, and we all have the right to be comfortable. But how do we survive all this madness anyway? Here's the ultimate parenting survival guide, and I sincerely mean this. Lower your expectations. Seriously, forget about the Pinterest perfect parenting, the TikTok reels, the perfect houses, the cleanest houses. Seriously, I kid you not. My dog just shit on the floor, and I have yet to mop it up because honestly, I have other things to do. Tonight, after my kids go to bed, pull out the mop, we'll wash the whole floor. But until then, I'm going to have a gross floor because I picked up the shit, but I didn't mop up the mess. Call me gross, think I'm disgusting, that's fine, but that is not something I have time for. I'm busy running kids around, running my podcast, and managing a yoga studio. I don't have time for that shit. So, really, forget the Pinterest perfect, the real perfect parenting. It doesn't exist. We all fuck up, and that's okay. A good day is when nobody cries about socks. In fact, that might be a perfect day. The other one, when you have toddlers, actually, it really doesn't matter how old you are. Stash snacks everywhere. Treat snacks like a first aid kit. They are essential in every room of your house. Seriously. Bathroom? I don't care how gross it is. There are times my kids need snacks in the bathroom as I'm getting their bath ready because all of a sudden they found out they were allergic to water in their head in the 5 minutes they were standing there waiting for their bath that 2 days earlier they absolutely couldn't wait to get into. Snacks, I have them in my purse. I have them in my glove box. I have them in the console. I have them everywhere. Seriously, everywhere. Heck, I even have snacks for adults at my yoga studio because we need snacks. We need sustenance. And sometimes our blood sugar drops at the most inconvenient times, and we just need food. Should it be healthy? Sure. Does it have to be healthy? Nope. Does it have to be something that goes in our mouth to give us sustenance so we don't get hangry and rip somebody's head off? Absolutely. Next, embrace screen time. Anyone who judges you over screen time clearly hasn't negotiated with any sort of childhood dictator. Does that mean you wake up and hand your kid an iPad? Absolutely not. It is important and imperative that we spend time with our kids, quality time, one-on-one, talking to them, not as children, but as though they are tiny humans with big brains that can understand and process big thoughts. But seriously, sometimes when we have to go to the bathroom, take a shower, heck, sometimes when you just have to poop alone, you need to get an iPad your phone, or turn on the TV and let your children stare at a screen for 15 minutes. It's okay. And this leads me to my next one. Pick your battles. If your child wants pancakes for dinner 5 nights in a row, let them have pancakes for dinner 5 nights in a row. It doesn't mean they're going to go and the only thing they eat is pancakes. It doesn't mean that they're never going to eat a vegetable again. It might mean that that's what their body needs and what they need for comfort right then. There is nothing that we need to do that is so difficult or insistent that we insist that our child has a varied diet when they're having a hard time processing life. Sometimes we just have to let go and realize that 5 days in the grand scheme of a whole year is not so bad. 365 days? You might want to talk to the pediatrician about that. But 5 days? It's fine. There's just so many times that I have given into meltdowns and they've worked. Am I proud of it? Some days, no. Other days, it honestly has made my relationship with my children so much closer. I think about a time where my oldest son and I had a battle of wits when he was 9 years old because I made him eat all the bowl of chili. And really, all he had left was the squished tomatoes, and he refused to eat it. But because his dad's rule, and he's my bonus son, and because his dad's rule was you eat everything on your plate, I insisted that I follow that rule as well. But you know what? I don't even eat everything on my plate. So why the hell am I making a kid do the thing that I wouldn't do? If you won't do it yourself, don't make your kid do it just because that's the way you were raised or because it's of ideals. If there's something catching you up in life, like you have to clear your plate, it's really important that we go back and we think about where that truth came from. Is that truth genuinely about a value that's important to your family? Or is it a family value that you were raised with and a belief system that you were raised with that is okay to change? Sometimes it's important to change. Sometimes it's important to stick to your values. But really, the big one I want to stress here is let go of the unrealistic expectations you have on yourself. There are so many times we feel like we're failing when your kids say they hate you. Heck, I had a friend one time have to pick up her kid out of Costco and carry him outside. All the while her child was yelling, "You're not my mom! You're not my mom!" And everyone stared at her like she was some creepy kidnapper carrying her kid out of Costco, when in fact she is his mom. And in fact, he was doing that because she had just recently talked to him about stranger danger, and she was shocked that no one even tried to intervene as he yelled, "You're not my mom." But that's besides the point. Sometimes these expectations we have to have the cleanest house, to have the cleanest sink, hell, to have the cleanest toilet. And if you live with boys, I commend you if you have a clean toilet. But these expectations that we put on ourselves as parents, sometimes they're just too much. And it's okay to reduce our expectations. Ultimately, I want to leave you with this. Parenting is messy. Parenting is exhausting and ridiculous, but you're doing great. Laugh through the chaos. Pour yourself a drink, even if it's coffee. And remember, these tiny dictators won't rule your life forever. Well, probably won't rule your life forever. I think. Hang in there, and I'll catch you next week. Until next time.